So today I'll be sharing with you some of the legitimate websites where you can find work from home and remote job you can apply for from Nigeria and other parts of Africa. If you are applying for a remote job and you may be wondering, okay, where do I find this remote job? Well, this video is for you. I'm going to start with my favorite website so far, not because I like this website, but because I've actually shared it with a couple of my friends and they've come back saying they got interview and even got job offer through the website. And this website is Cherry Assistant. So basically, Cherry Assistant connects virtual assistants with international clients. If you are looking for roles like customer support, social media management, scheduling, administrative work, research, or general virtual assistant position, this is one of the websites I would recommend you checking out. And what's really interesting for us as Africa is that they have opportunity open to candidates in Africa, including Nigeria, depending on the specific role. And I'm not saying this because it's my favorite website, but I actually have a proof. I'm going to attach a screenshot of two of my friends that have actually gotten an opportunity through this Cherry Assistant. So let me show you how these websites work. You go to Cherry Assistant website, then go to the job section. This is where you can see the available positions. You'll find different type of remote roles, but you have to pay attention to the location requirements because not every job is going to be available in every country. Some positions are open to specific region, while others are open more broadly to international or African candidates. If you are in Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana, South Africa, or somewhere else in Africa, don't just assume you can't apply. Read the location requirements on each job individually. And another thing I like about Cherry Assistant is the transparency. They will tell you what they are looking for, what the role involves, and in many cases, information about your salary and the working arrangement is provided upfront. I've also had a good experience with their communication. They let you know what is happening during the process, and even if you don't get selected for one position, there can be other opportunities later. In fact, they've actually reached out to me for another opportunity after I was already working. They basically reached out to me and said, there is a position available. Would you like to interview? I had to say no, I'm good, because I was already working. The point is that they keep you in mind for future opportunity, most especially if your profile and experience match what their clients are looking for. So definitely check out Cherry Assistant. Now let's move on to website 2. The second website is one that focuses specifically on remote job. So you don't spend your whole day filtering through hundreds of traditional jobs just to find the one that allows you to work remotely. This one is called NodeSk. NodeSk is a remote job website where you can find different types of job positions. You find jobs in technology, marketing, operation, customer support, writing, sales, and so many other areas. Now, here is the important thing. When you are looking through these jobs, don't just see the word remote and immediately apply. Look at where they are hiring. You might see something like remote worldwide, which is great because that means you can apply from Nigeria. You might see remote Africa, which is even better for us because that means they are accepting candidates from African countries. But if you see remote US, that generally means they are accepting candidates only from the United States. Same thing with remote Europe. So you have to pay attention to those location tags. For example, if you see a position that says remote Africa, that one I would definitely click on it if I'm based in Nigeria or any other African country. Go through the requirements, check if your skills match, look at the working hours, salary, and benefits. If everything works for you, then go ahead and apply. And remember, remote does not always mean worldwide. That's one of the biggest mistakes I see people do when applying for a remote job. Now let's move on to the next website. This next one is called SimplyHired. SimplyHired is useful because you can search specifically for remote positions, and you can also see how recently some of these jobs were posted. And honestly, when you're applying for a remote job, I really like NOAA listings. If a job was posted 30 minutes ago, 1 hour ago, yesterday, that's something I will usually prioritize over a job that has been sitting there for 3 weeks. Because with remote jobs, you can have hundreds or even thousands of people applying. So the earlier, the better. On SimplyHired, you can search for something like remote and start looking through the available positions. You might find customer service job, sales jobs, administrative roles, marketing position, virtual assistant, and so much more. And once you find something that matches your skills, you can go through the requirements and apply. You may also be redirected to another platform during the application process, so make sure your CV is ready and set up on all those other platforms. This brings me to another important point. Have a good CV before you start applying. Don't wait until you find your dream remote job before you start working on your CV. have your CV ready, have your LinkedIn profile ready, have your professional email ready. And if you're applying for virtual assistance, customer service, social media management, or administrative role, make sure your CV actually highlights those skills. Now let's talk about website for people who already have a lot of professional experience, and the platform is Crossover. Crossover is a little bit different from the platform I've mentioned before because they have some very high paying job positions. But please don't hear me say high paying and you gotta apply for everything. The application process can be high intense. We are talking about assessment, test, interview, and multiple stages of screening. And most of those roles are for high-level positions. We're talking about directors, executives, senior managers, people with 5 years, 10 years, or even more years of experience. If you're a beginner who have never worked remotely before, this might not be your first stop. And if you're an experienced professional from Nigeria or elsewhere in Africa, definitely check it out. And yes, they have hired people from Nigeria before. You will see people from different countries working through this kind of international remote platform. So don't disqualify yourself simply because you are based in Nigeria. If the job says it's open to your location and you have the experience they are asking for, apply. Now let's talk about another platform which I think is particularly interesting if you are looking for virtual assistant opportunities, and that is Virtual Worker Now. This is quite interesting because they recruit people for different types of remote roles. You can find opportunity around virtual assistants, accounting, bookkeeping, executive assistants, administration, and other support roles. For example, virtual assistant might involve something like data entry, file arrangement, transcription, travel arrangement, research, social media support, website updates, and coordinating with clients and vendor. And the application process is pretty straightforward. You basically provide your information, tell them about your background, upload your CV, and depending on the role, you might be given an assessment. The purpose of the assessment is to see whether you actually have the skills required for the position. And if you then pass that stage, you now move on to the client interview. So again, you are not necessarily applying for one random job and hoping for the best. You are going through a process where they can assess your skills and potentially match you with a client. Now I want to talk about something really important before I wrap up. Knowing this website is not enough. I can give you 50 remote job websites, but if you don't apply, nothing is going to happen. You have to be consistent. Check the platform regularly. Apply to multiple positions. Tailor your CV when necessary. Keep improving your skills, and most importantly, don't apply randomly. If a job is asking of 5 years software engineering experience and you've never written a code in your life before, that's probably not the job for you. But if you see customer support role and you have good communication skills, customer service experience, good written English, a reliable laptop and internet, and you meet the other requirements, you can apply. And don't be discouraged because you're in Nigeria or in other part of Africa. One of the biggest things I want people watching my content to understand is that being an African does not automatically mean you should remove yourself from international opportunities. Yes, there are jobs that are location restricted. Yes, some companies only hire from certain countries, but also there are companies hiring internationally, including people in Africa. So your job is to find these opportunities, read the requirements carefully, and apply where you are actually eligible. Please, please, please be careful with scams. Never pay anyone just because they promise you a remote job. A legitimate employer may have a hiring process, assessments, interviews, documentations, but you should have your own research before giving anyone money or personal sensitive information. So these are some of the platforms I would recommend you to check out if you are looking for a remote job from Nigeria or other part of Africa. I will put the link to all the websites in the description and also in the comment section so that you can easily find them. And if you want me to make another video specifically showing you remote jobs that are accepting Nigerians, let me know in the comment section, and tell me which of this website you are going to try first. Tell me in the comment section. Thank you for watching, and see you in my next video.